Welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najuma Luma, but first are the headlines. Observe COVID SOPs, renew faith in God, says Museveni in a Christmas message. Health Ministry okays COVID booster jabs, vaccine mixing. DRC ex-President Kabila sues NGOs over money laundering claims. And in sports, Bodu eject Bulemezi to book second successive finale. I will welcome once again now the news in detail. President Museveni has urged believers all over the country to use the festive season to re-energize their efforts to control the spread of the deadly coronavirus. We have more.
Museveni said in his Christmas message that God is helping us as a country, the scourge of the deadly coronavirus disease, and urged all the people to embrace the countrywide vaccination campaign and to continue observing the standard operating procedures to curb the spread of the virus.
All the people who are attending the function, warm salutations and Merry Christmas to all of you. Christmas is a time when believers in the Christian faith celebrate the birth of the Savior, our Lord Jesus Christ. It is the genesis of man's salvation as far as the Christians are concerned, and redemption from sin, which is the consequence of sin. As you celebrate this year's Christmas, I encourage you to welcome into your hearts the message of love, compassion, and care for one another, generosity, holiness, and faithful worship to God.
According to the president, as they celebrate Christmas, believers should welcome into their hearts the message of love, compassion, and care for one another, generosity, holiness, and faithful worship of God. He said that the merrymaking, which is always associated with the festive season, should not detract people from focusing on the spiritual significance of Christmas, but help renew their faith in God, bring healing and divine joy to their families. He added that the First Lady, Mama Janity, also joined him in wishing Ugandans a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
The Ministry of Health has given a green light for Ugandans above 50 and those with underlying conditions to get a booster COVID jab as well as carry out a vaccine mixing. Nalugo reports.
The Minister of Health, Jane Ruth Aceng, said on Thursday that after evaluating the evidence of reducing and waning immunity 6 to 8 weeks after full vaccination elsewhere in the world, the Ministry of Health recommends booster doses for persons aged 50 and above and those with comorbidities. According to Aceng, one can get a booster dose at least 6 months after completing the primary COVID vaccination series, and that this is aimed at restoring vaccine effectiveness from the deemed no longer sufficient. The health minister said that by the end of January, they will have decided whether the rest of the members of the public who are eligible can also take COVID booster jabs after attaining the recommended vaccination coverage. The health minister said after review of evidence and in line with the World Health Organization interim recommendations on match and mixing vaccines from different manufacturers, Ugandans can go ahead and mix the vaccines. Aceng said that mixing of vaccines offers advantages in enhanced immune response and therefore anticipated enhanced protection.
East African heads of state have directed the Council of Ministers to begin and conclude the process of admitting the Democratic Republic of Congo into the East African Community. The directive follows the virtual 18th Extraordinary Summit of the East African Community Heads of State that was held on Wednesday to deliberate on DRC's application, among other regional issues. Kachanchi has more.
The meeting, which was held virtually under the theme Deepening Integration, Widening Cooperation, was well attended by all East African countries' presidents, including President Museveni of Uganda, President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, and President Samia Suluhu Hassan of Tanzania. Burundi was represented by Prosper Banzombanza, the Vice President, and Dengalor Kwol, who is the Minister of East African Community Affairs, represented Southern Sudan. In a communique that was sent out after the meeting, the members stated that they discussed extensively the admission of the Democratic Republic of Congo and ordered the Council of Ministers to conclude its admission. Last month, the ministers in charge of East African affairs from the East African community had recommended to the heads of state that the commencement of the admission of the Democratic Republic of Congo into the East African community during the 44th extraordinary meeting held on November 22nd. President Suluhu Hassan of Tanzania commented in the meeting that Democratic Republic of Congo's admission to the East African community will be a new milestone to the integration. She said that Tanzania is ready to work with the Democratic Republic of Congo and all East African community member states to further integrate.
Let's take a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. The former president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Joseph Kabila, is planning to sue a media house and a group of NGOs for what he terms an act of defamation and manipulation on an alleged report that he siphoned off $138 million over 5 years.
In the report entitled Congo Hold Up, Kabila, together with his clan, are implicated on over 3.5 million confidential bank documents in the scandal by the French online investigative media, Mediapart, and the NGO platform for the protection of whistleblowers in Africa. Raphael Nyabirungu, Joseph Kabila's lawyer, said that the authors of the said report, published by Extract, did not find any element, any precise and conclusive act concerning the honorary president of the Republic. The lawyer added that following the serious and intentional violation of his fundamental rights as a citizen, their client reserves the right to seize incessantly the competent judicial authorities both in the Democratic Republic of Congo and abroad so that justice is done. Kabila's close allies and supporters have vowed to protect the former president from any attack that they labeled tarnishing. Joseph Kokonyanji, pro-Kabila member of the Common Front for Congo, said that they are aware that Kabila is a nationalist who is against the imperialists and has worked with dignity for his people and vowed to defend him to the last drop of blood as Congolese. This report was analyzed by 19 international media and 5 NGOs over a period of 6 months under the coordination of the European Investigative Collaborations Network.
A Tunisian court has sentenced former President Mochaif Mazzouki in absentia to 4 years in prison for assaulting the security of the state, according to state media. The 76-year-old, who currently lives in France, had previously criticized President Kais Saied and called for protests. Let's take a look.
Local media on Wednesday said Mazzouki was found guilty of undermining the security of the state from abroad and of having caused diplomatic harm. In a statement to the media, Mazzouki rejected the ruling of illegal, saying it was issued by the illegitimate president who overturned the constitution. He said the accusations against him are a reversal of the facts and instead apply to Saied, who in January seized sweeping executive powers. Mazzouki also said it was his destiny to fight against dictatorship in his country until the end of his life, but indicated that he would not ask any lawyer to appeal the ruling. Meanwhile, his lawyer, Lamia Kamiri, told AFP News Agency that Mazzouki had not received any summons to court, and she also did not know why he was convicted. After Tunisia's 2011 revolution that introduced democracy, an elected assembly appointed Marzouki as the interim president, overseeing that transition to a new constitution in 2014. Marzouki is no stranger to being brought to court under different presidents. He was tried at least 7 times under the late President Habib and was sentenced to 11 months in absentia during the rule of the late President Zain El Abidine Ben Ali.
A group of MPs in Senegal tabled a bill on Wednesday to strengthen the repression of homosexuality in the Muslim-majority West African country. The bill was tabled by MPs Mamadou Lamine Diallo, Chike Bamba Die, Alo Soleil, and Mustafa Goulassi, all from the parliamentary opposition.
It is not illegal to identify as a gay in the deeply conservative Muslim nation of Senegal, but same-sex activity is already punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Mamadou Lamine Diallo, a Senegalese member of parliament, said that all of Senegal is behind this bill, adding that it is good that the United States, Canada, France and Europe know that this is a matter for the Senegalese people. Imam Alione Badarandao, a member of the association, and Sam Jikoyi said that with the support of the religious leaders, movement leaders and youth, this bill will undoubtedly be passed in the National Assembly because it is a social demand. The bill aims at amending the penal code to issue a sentence of 5 to 10 years imprisonment and a fine of $1,800 and $8,000 without the possibility of appealing to anyone found guilty of unnatural acts. Honorable Mamadou Lamine Diallo, during a press conference in Dakar on Wednesday, said that the Bureau of the National Assembly will meet soon to decide on the admissibility of the proposal. On 23rd May, several hundred demonstrators gathered in Dakar to call on the government to urgently adopt a law criminalizing homosexuality.
Moving on, the man who led the 2008 coup in Guinea and whose brief rule was marked by a stadium massacre returned to the West African country on Wednesday after more than a decade in exile in Burkina Faso.
Moussa Dadis Camara left Guinea in December 2009 after narrowly surviving an assassination attempt carried out by one of his own bodyguards. Many in Conakry, like Calvigi, a Conakry resident, are happy for his return after a decade in exile out of his country. Camara's exile eventually paved the way for Guinea's first democratic elections since independence from France, which put Alpha Condé in power. Camara said that in memory of the victims of these painful events, for the respect of the institutions of the Republic, and for the integrity of history, he is fully committed, as he had always been, to tell his version of the truth in the matter of 28 September. He added that he is ready to put himself at the disposal of the courts because nobody is above the law, so that his kind of event will never again plunge Guinea into mourning. For years, the government had sought to prevent Camara's homecoming. Another coup earlier this year in Guinea put a military junta in power that was less obstructive on Camara's return.
Let's once again take a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, in the Volcanoes National Park Forest in Rwanda, the population of mountain gorillas has seen an increase. The conservation success story is now facing a different challenge. The growing numbers of gorillas struggle to coexist in a shrinking habitat.
According to Prosper Wingeli, director of the Volcanoes National Park, they have seen challenges of the habitat because in the past 60 or 50 years, the park lost 54% of its size. He said that when the effort was put in place for the mountain gorilla population to recover to the current numbers, the habitat has not changed. According to the last census, there are more than 1,000 mountain apes left in the world. The rising numbers, however, can lead to the fighting between primates, according to the director of the Deyan Fosse Gorilla Fund in Rwanda. Felix Ndagijimana said that the interactions themselves changed in the sense that they became very violent, and during this interaction period, they have recorded 7 silverbacks, the male gorillas' deaths. In order to improve the current situation, Rwandan authorities have decided to extend the park, therefore providing more space to the mountain gorillas. The expansion, however, means displacing some families. 10% of tourism revenues in Rwanda is used for building schools, amenities, and for a compensation fund.
In our health news today, the Moroccan government on Thursday extended the nationwide health state of emergency to January 31st, the country's state news agency reported. The decision comes at a time when there is a rise in COVID-19 infections in the country.
The Moroccan Ministry of Health reported 427 new COVID-19 infections and 3 deaths of Wednesday, December 23rd, bringing the number of confirmed cases in the country to 953,724. The government on Monday banned all New Year's Eve parties and special events organized in hotels, restaurants, and tourist establishments. A curfew on New Year's Eve will be imposed between 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. in a bid to reinforce the preventive measures. Under existing directives, proof of vaccination is required to enter most public and private spaces, including hotels, restaurants, cafes, gyms, public baths, grocery stores, and public transport. Public baths, public swimming pools, and sports facilities are limited to operating at 50% capacity. Public and private gatherings are limited to 50 people. Wearing a mask is mandatory in public spaces. Persons who violate COVID-19 related domestic restrictions may be fined. International travel restrictions of all direct flights to Morocco remain suspended until further notice. Maritime travel with Spain and France also remains suspended. Authorities could reimpose, extend further ease, or otherwise amend any restrictions with little to no notice, depending on disease activity over the coming weeks.
And in sports, Budu ejected Bulemezi 3-1 in post-match penalties after Nantes carrying a draw in no more time. Budu says the football team will play at the finals of the 2021 Masaza Cup against Buekula on a date and venue which shall be confirmed. This will be the second successive final after playing at the 2020 final where they lost 3-1 to record winners Gomba.
The development comes after a 3-1 post-match penalty victory over Bulemezi during the second semi-final of the 2021 Masaza Cup competitions at the Federation for Uganda Football Association's Technical Center Njeru on Thursday, December 23, 2021. Normal times of this contest ended goalless, with both sides coming close to breaking the deadlock in vain. Budu goalkeeper Michael Taya was the hero with the last-minute fingertip save of Suleiman Sesaz's shot from the 25-yard and 2 saves in the post-match penalties of Calvin Peter Emayo and Douglas Chizalulei. Fahadi Nsamba, Haruna Lukwago and Brian Omirambe were on the target for Budu as Vianney Bukenya missed his kick. Only Oscar Suleiman Sesaz scored his kick for Bulemezi. Emayo, Lule and Bernard Katerega missed their respective kicks for Bulemezi on the greyish evening. Budu will now face Buwekula, who advanced after a 5-3 post-match penalty victory over Mawokota. Normal time between Buwekula and Mawokota ended 1 goal apiece. Lazaro Wambali scored in the 44th minute for Mawokota, and Isaac Musima replied with 4 minutes to the half-hour mark. In the post-match penalties, Ivan Semuju, Bernard Alijuna, Michael Abura, Michael Kimera Kimichi and Isaac Musima scored for Buwekula.
That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.